Hello, this is the TradeSite US Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Tuesday, the 29th of January, 2019. Weird day on Monday. Big gap down. Thought there'd be some excitement. We were already gapping down, and then the NVIDIA news about missing their earnings hit, and right before the bell by about 30 minutes or less, and we just thought, okay, here's going to be a big day. And then instead we closed right where we opened and did nothing all day long. So that's disappointing from a trading perspective, obviously, for what we do. But it is what it is. It's fine. So here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the broad market futures form. Currently showing a gap down again for Tuesday morning, but it's still Monday night, so who knows what that really looks like. Let's go through the daily charts. Crude oil up 18 cents to 852.17. Gold down 40 cents after being up, finally getting a new high for the last 6 months or so. S&P cash loses $20.91 on the day. Again, you'll see the gap down, and that's where we close. NASDAQ 100 down 90.28, closed just above where it opened. SOX down 26.76, that was above where it opened. Biotech's down 70.21, that was below where it opened. So biotechs were weak. Semiconductors were strong after the open. Russell 2000 down just 9 points, which is not a big deal in the Russell. The VIX gains 1.45, back to 1887. The trend closes at 1.26, so that puts the 10-day at 1.05, which is not any signal for us. NASDAQ volume 2.4 billion. Again, it's been the same number almost for 5 days in a row. Just a steady number. Advanced decline ratio on the NASDAQ, negative 775. It was worse earlier in the day, negative 259 on the New York. Having said that, Google was down 21.65. Doesn't look like much on the chart of $1,000 stock, but it was down. Apple down 1.46. Also doesn't look like much. Netflix down 2.39. This thing's mid-range. This is up from a year ago almost. It was up for a year ago. Netflix down $2.39, also up from a year ago, and one of the few. Amazon down $32.68, but up from a year ago. Tesla down 66 cents. Not really up from a year ago, but this thing's been so narrow. I mean, look, for a stock this price, it's been in a pretty tight range for a year, so that's interesting. Facebook down $1.54. Goldman Sachs loses $1.02. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, loses 12 cents. Not a big deal. Remember that 13 sell signal, nailed it on that. The Dow down. Not that we watched the Dow down 208, whatever. All right, so here it is. This is a floating island pattern, right? So you gap up on Friday, you go dead flat. You gap down on Monday, you go dead flat, but you leave the gap above. That's a floating island pattern, which means if you break the lows of today, tomorrow, that is a signal to sell the market. So be careful on that. NASDAQ side looks about the same. Notice the 13 sell signal here. Look at how perfect that was on Friday. The risk line, the pink line, literally the high tick of the day. You can't make that up. I mean, these signals are so good. That's how we help people make money in the markets, and then a gap down. So we've got a floating island on both sides, but they don't trigger until we break the lows of today. So just be fair and acknowledge that. On Tuesday, we've got the S&P Composite 20-year housing price index at 9 a.m. and consumer confidence at 10. Then we start a Tuesday Fed meeting, and we'll go into that on Wednesday, but that's for the day after. So with the Fed announcement, who knows? Obviously, people are looking at the Fed right now because people think maybe the Fed's changing their minds about what they want to do. Nobody really knows. We'll see. So it's important. Are we going to wait until Wednesday after the Fed announcement at 2 p.m. to really decide to do anything? Hard to say. You also start, just so we're on the same page, we have the month end here on Thursday. That's the last day of January. Month ends are not as important as quarter ends, but they still matter. And then, not to be too blunt about it, but it is a factor. This is Super Bowl weekend, which means a lot of people with big money travel on Friday to get to where the Super Bowl is and go to the Super Bowl on Sunday. Plus, you have the Phoenix Open, which is one of the bigger in the U.S. Events for golf. So Friday's probably a bust. Thursday could be because it's the end of the month. Wednesday's the Fed announcement. We'll just see. I don't know. It could be that we don't really do much this whole week. That would suck, but it's possible. We will trade it as we see it. As usual, we will not overtrade. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading Tuesday.